Talk about, the reason this issue on the flooding came forward is because a couple of engineers from the NRC had brought this forward and nothing was being done about it. And then so they said, hey, we're going to go to the press. So they become whistleblowers, And this situation on flooding now has came forward, and this is the reason we're standing here today. Basically, I'm standing here, y'all sitting down. But they are appreciated. Y'all are appreciated as the watchdog. The TVA is appreciated. We appreciate, we may not agree on all things, but we greatly appreciate, particularly the TVA keeping power on all the time. All this system through the TVA area is interconnected. What affects Watts Bar, we're from Alabama. It's going to affect us in Alabama. It has great potential. And on down from Chattanooga, and what happens in Browns Ferry has the potential to affect the folks up here in Tennessee. So, but those whistleblowers, if you want to call them that came forward and said, hey, you do have a flooding problem and it's not being dealt with adequately. What is the NRC's take on that, and how do you treat whistleblowers? If a whistleblower comes forward from the TVA it's employed and says, NRC, there is a safety problem over here at the plant. So what are you going to do to ensure that whistleblower is not going to lose his job? If he says, hey, there's a problem here, if I'm maybe being discriminated against by the TVA, what is the NRC going to do to ensure that whistleblower is protected? That's a question.
Okay.
I'll stop on that one, and I've got another question.
An individual comes to the Regulatory Commission with a concern, an allegation about a regulated activity at the facility. NRC will initiate what we refer to as our allegation program. An allegation program looks into an individual's concern. We provide a letter to the individual, discussions with that individual to understand that we have a true understanding of what their concern is, and any background information and who individuals we may want to talk to. We then proceed to determine whether or not the individual's concern is actually factually based. In other words, if we can substantiate it or not. And then if there's enforcement action that would result from that, we would take the enforcement action. We can issue notices of violation or take whatever action is necessary. So that's specific to an individual's concern, you say, bringing forth a safety issue. In addition, the individuals are protected in that the NRC does not identify concerned individuals to the licensees. Sometimes people do talk about their concerns with other people, and they talk, and so we can't necessarily say that an individual that brings a concern to the NRC that their name isn't out there associated with their concern, because there may be other means or discussions that occurred separate from the NRC that would identify that individual. But the individual also has the Department of Labor protection rights, and if it's associated with the Energy Reorganization Act, the NRC provides that protection also. The Department of Labor is the entity that actually provides essentially the remediation or actions for the individual. The NRC has an Office of Investigations that would look into allegations of individuals being discriminated against, fired, if it's based on a discriminatory action. There's also an avenue an individual can choose to take. It's referred to as ADR, Ultimate Dispute Resolution, which the individual can choose to engage in, which essentially involves an individual, a mediator. It comes from Cornell University, and they can have discussions and come to an understanding with the with the licensee. The NRC looks at that, any settlement that comes from that or agreement that comes from that. For any exclusive language in there, for example, you couldn't report a safety concern to the NRC, that is something that we would not allow to be in there. But the actual settlement discussions, whatever the remediation would be, the resolution is between the licensee, the mediator, and the individual. If the individual chooses to have us look at it from our Office of Investigations, and we go and we substantiate that concern, then that would be an action that the NRC would subsequently pursue under our enforcement actions. But the NRC itself cannot provide remediation to an individual. But that's the role of the Department of Labor.
Y'all going to protect your own whistleblowers too, right? Your own whistleblowers have the same rights?
I'm not following what you mean by our own whistleblowers.
Your own whistleblower within the NRC. I mean, you have.
Inspectors are always bringing forth issues and concerns for resolution.
Yes, I understand. The whole, like I said, the reason we're here is because two engineers came forward and said, hey, NRC, you're not paying close enough attention to this. There's a flooding issue out there. And it was kind of being swept over to the side. There's not enough emphasis.
The individual that resulted in the identification issue is sitting at this table.
Oh, good, good.
Mr. Monk.
Mr. Monk, okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Monk. Appreciate that.
I didn't know.
But this,
who you were talking about.
well, okay, no, this is good. I'm just telling you based on what I've read in news media. You know, I don't, that's the only way I can, you know, get a handle on that, because it has been widely reported in the Southeast that it was NRC engineers that came forward. I think one of them's retired military or had been in the military, and stated that the flooding issues were kind of being swept over to the side, but they said, hold it, y'all need to pay closer attention to that. So this is the reason I bring that forward.
You're asking me about, I'm not familiar with the specifics on any of those. We do have protection as far as for the NRC inspectors. There are numerous means of bringing forth issues forward. We have differing professional opinions. There's just a whole avenue of means that individuals can bring forth issues.